Okay, everybody, what is going on? Good morning. Happy Friday. We have made it to the end of the week, and we have also made it to I would say, fairly interesting day on the calendar for the Seattle Seahawks. Today is the day of the joint practice. They're joint practicing with the Tennessee Titans later today. Um, I'll talk about that at length whenever we get some details from it. A lot of the joint practices so far this year across the league have devolved into a lot of brawling and fighting and chaos and anarchy. So I'm hoping that ours doesn't turn into that because that's how things get messy. Teams can get fined, players can get hurt, etc., etc. So I'm hoping we don't have to deal with that. But that is what's going to be going on later today. But for the moment, we don't really have a lot going on here. So I decided today would be a pretty good day to do another mock draft. This video is sponsored by Prize Picks. So we're going to do mock draft 3.0 here, and I know that it's a little bit early for mocks, and I know that it's really early for mocks for a team that has high expectations this year, but I can't really think of too much else to do at the moment, so why not? And just to mix it up, just to be a little bit brave here, and usually I don't do this kind of stuff early in mock draft season, but I felt like taking my swing because this is almost certainly, and things can change, this is going to be a draft where I likely advocate for this Seahawks team taking a big swing, the kind of swing that not only do they not ever really do, but a swing that very few teams do. So this mock is going to be exploring that possibility and also trying to get an idea of, can they do this and still take care of their business otherwise? So we're going to go ahead and get into it here. Mock Draft 3.0 starts with a trade, and it's a big one. And I've talked about this one before. This is the once-in-a-decade type trade that you see in the NFL where a really good team decides what they need is one more superstar. So right off the bat, we're launching fireworks here. I am trading a bunch of picks, and I'm doing it to trade up to number 5. And I think my body's blocking it, so let me move real quick. Yeah, I am trading up to number 5 overall. And by the way, when you take a look at the picks that we have, the numbers, that's just taken from the guesstimator on, I think, Tankathon. So don't take that too seriously. Don't worry about the exact position of our picks because we have no idea where we're going to be picking. But focus instead on the round, the approximate values, and focus on what we're getting in the trade. So first round pick, second round pick, a fourth, a fifth, and next year's first for the 5th overall pick. That's pretty close to what Atlanta did back in 2011 for Julio Jones. That is about the price that I think it would cost if you want to trade up into the top 5. So 28th, 60th, 135th, 168th, and then your first round pick next year for the 5th overall pick. In this draft in particular, I think that gets it done. We're not going to know for sure until we get there. We're going to have to see what team is picking at number 5 when we get there. Some teams are going to covet that pick more than others. And if there's a quarterback available at that pick that is considered a blue chipper, like let's say Dante Moore is there somehow, somebody might outbid you because they want a quarterback. I'm not going up for a quarterback, so somebody can probably top this offer if there is a quarterback there. But I'm not going up for a quarterback. I'm going up for Colin Simmons, the edge out of Texas. Right now, realistically, the only guy I would move up like this for. All right, guys, let's take a quick break here to talk a little bit about Prize Picks, currently the #1 sports pick app in America. The app is very easy to use. Check it out to my left here. You can do player picks, where you just pick more or less on a few player stats and lock in your lineup. Or you can pick teams, where you pick winners, spread, or total on any game or fight. The app is available in most states, including California, Texas, and Florida. Right now, they have a great offer. You can play your first $5 lineup and get $150 in lineups if you win. All you have to do is use code HMA when you sign up. It's a brand new offer. Best time possible to get on the app. So get on over there and get to winning that first lineup. So remember, Prize Picks, code HMA. Download the app today and remember to always gamble responsibly. Colin Simmons, right now, probably the best edge rusher in this class. Really great all around prospect. I don't know if I would put him on the same level as like a Will Anderson or a Von Miller, but he's in the conversation. And maybe by the end of this season, I'll feel like he is up there with those guys. So, really great pass rusher. He's got the bend, he's got the quickness, and he's a good run defender. The only issue here, he is a little undersized, which McDonald might not be crazy about, but his lack of size does not necessarily deter him from doing what he needs to do. There are a lot of edge rushers out there who are small and they're weak against the run. Colin Simmons, I don't see a player weak against the run there. I see a player who's good against the run, even though he's a little bit on the smaller side. And when I say smaller side, I'm talking like 245. So by the time he gets to the NFL, he'll probably be at least 250, 255, no problem. And you're not going to have an issue there. So Colin Simmons, that's the guy I swing for. And obviously that depletes you significantly, but you've now got a blue chip edge going forward, and I think that takes care of a lot of your problems. I think that if you can get Colin Simmons, your concern about the edge rusher position melts away because you've got him to pair with Derek Hall, and then you've just got to find a couple other guys, maybe sign some veterans like you did this last year with Dante Fowler, and you're good. All right, so moving past that pick, though, our next pick is then going to not be till the third round. I'm going with Suntarine Perkins. Really fun potential here. Could be like a hybrid, a Micah Parsons type player. Obviously not the same caliber, but he's that linebacker edge hybrid player that people covet in the post Micah Parsons era. Might be able to do both, might not be able to do either. He does have some issues with tackling. There are some issues with his technique, but he does have the dual skill set that you might want from a linebacker who can slide outside on passing downs. Now, I don't know if that thing is necessarily Mike McDonald's jam, but even if it's not, he could still be a good linebacker. And linebacker is a position that I'm thinking about pretty hard right now because we've got 3 guys entering contract years next year, and I believe that some of them will be retained, but some of them will not. So we may need to do a little bit of refreshing in the linebacker room, and Suntarine Perkins gives you a couple of opportunities to be an impact player. So that's my third round pick. Then my other third round pick, because remember, we get the other one for the Nolan Teasley hiring by the Vikings. I went with a running back. This is one guy I haven't talked about much yet, but he's starting to surge. Hollywood Smothers out of Texas. Good dual threat, has a nice little burst, can do a lot of stuff catching passes out of the backfield. Should be a really appealing prospect. It feels like Texas has a running back that is a hot topic in the draft pretty much every year. And some years they just completely collapse, and some years they just go to the moon, but every year they've got one. So Hollywood Smothers, I think that he could help round out this running back room a little bit. And I think we're going to need it because we're going to lose a lot of guys at that position this offseason, almost certainly, because the only guy under long-term contract is Jadarian Price. So we're going to need more. And I think Smothers could be part of that. So that's my day 2. So just those 2 picks. I gave up the second rounder to get Simmons, but if you're coming away from day 1 and day 2, the top 100 with Simmons, Perkins, and Smothers, I think you are definitely building along the right tracks. Okay, so now we go to day day 3, which I've also kind of pulled apart a little bit with trades, but I'm doing another one because I want to trade up a little bit again in the 5th. And I want to stress this, even with this trade, I'm still trying to get higher value picks if I can. I'm still trying to move up in the draft and give up extra picks if it means I can get better picks, because this is such a good roster right now. I don't think that bringing in 10 or more rookies is a good thing, or 10 or more draft picks. You're going to end up drafting a good chunk of players that have no chance of making the team. I'd rather get better players than more players. So I'm going up with our 2 5th-round picks, 176, 178 to 145. So basically moving up in the 5th. And I'm taking Xavier Atkins, linebacker out of Auburn, another guy who's kind of a new guy on the block, but there's some really exciting athleticism with him. He's a really great athlete. He's somebody that can go sideline to sideline and go around blockers because he's so quick. He does have to learn some technique about how to take on blockers, but I think McDonald is really good working with these linebackers. So I think if you give him a guy of this kind of talent, he's going to find a way to get good stuff out of him. So Xavier Atkins is my 5th-round pick. And then I have another 5th-round pick that I'm spending on a safety, Jalen McClain. He is one of the safeties in this draft that strikes me as very versatile. I think that he can do box stuff. I think he can do cover stuff. Main issue is he just doesn't take the ball away. He doesn't have any interceptions yet. Although, in fairness, he hasn't played a lot yet. Let's see what he does this year for Ohio State. But Jalen McClain, to me, is a player that fits the Mike Macdonald defense very well. Because Mike Macdonald likes these safeties that can do a little bit of everything. So I'm liking that one. I think that he would be a great fit and give us both depth and also an understanding that Julian Love might be gone sooner rather than later. Got a contract year coming up, and we got a decision to make. I'm going with another running back in the 6th round. This is Wayman Jordan, another good pass-catching running back. Another guy that I haven't really talked about very much yet because understand that at this point, draft stuff is shifting pretty much every day very rapidly. It's a very, very fluid situation, but Wayman Jordan out of USC, somebody who's got a nice burst through the hole, somebody who's got the ability to be a pass catcher as well. So I think that if you bring those two guys in, Smothers and Wayman Jordan, with Price, maybe you bring in one more guy. Maybe you bring back Price on a really, Halani on a really cheap deal, or you can bring back Charbonnet at that point, and Wayman Jordan becomes like your 4th back. And I think you can feel pretty good about that. Maybe he ends up on your practice squad. That's fine too. So that is my 6th-round pick. Now we've got a 7th-round pick, and I'm going with pure potential here. And I'm also going with a player who, honestly, I think is going to probably go higher than this, but he's a mystery. Charles Jakusha. 1 second here. It's Jogusa. I actually had to look that one up. I wanted to get that one right because I think it's a cool name, but I wasn't quite sure how that one comes out. Jogusa. Right guard from Notre Dame. This is the guy who's basically not played football at all, but is freakishly talented. If he can get healthy, if he can get on the field, I think he can move up in the draft pretty dramatically. Or maybe he'll just never have a career in football. But he fascinates me because he is such a unique talent for a right guard. He's athletic. He's big. He moves well. He just needs to get past the injuries. And maybe he never will, but keep an eye on this guy. He's playing right guard for Notre Dame this year, apparently, if he's healthy enough to play. And if he is, I think he's going to turn heads. Okay, so that's my mock. I took the big swing on the blue chip edge that's going to be a stud in this league almost certainly. And I still was able to get a linebacker, a couple linebackers, couple running backs, safety, right guard, because I'm assuming we kind of move the line along at right guard this offseason, where Haynes and Bradford are out and maybe Bo Stevens gets his chance. So you can take a developmental right guard and kind of just roll the dice with Jagusa. And yeah, I think that's pretty good. I think that's about as good as you can get, given the fact that you took this gigantic trade up. And it does highlight that thing that I'm talking about, where I'm not trying to save every pick that I can in this draft. As good as this draft is, I want to get up into the good parts of this draft as much as possible, because I think I can make this team really loaded if I can just find a way to get a blue chipper at edge. And this is probably the only way to do it at this point, because the other way was to trade for Max Crosby, and it seems like that ship may have sailed. Although, don't hold me to that, because things change quickly in the NFL. All right, let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys later. Go Hawks. I'll have stuff about the joint practice later, but thought I'd go ahead and fill a little bit of time with this, and see you guys soon.